Hello, fellow notaries. I wanted to do a live and I failed at it playing the audio. So I wanted to intentionally create a video so that you can have information that can cover what you need to know as a notary working through a process of being a signing agent, whether you're independently um, meeting with a homeowner who needs a loan modification done or any other type of loan document that they're not or you're not going through a third party like a signing service. Whether you're going through a signing service or direct, the same guidelines still apply as a notary public. I am going to reference our manual and the North Carolina Bar, our state bar website, because the information that gives you the facts that you're needing is going to be found in these resources. So if you go to your page 62, where it says signing agents, settlement agents, closing agents, and mobile notaries, it says signing agents are not recognized in North Carolina notary law, and the Secretary of State does not seek to regulate such practices. Now, we understand that we are able to notarize documents. And guess what? Loan documents need to be notarized. Although the Secretary of State um, has made the statement that they do not recognize notary or a signing agent in this capacity, it's because we are in an attorney state and they allow um, things dealing with a signing agent working in a capacity of overseeing a loan signing or a loan closing. And the word is facilitate. We facilitate closing as a notary public. In North Carolina, as an attorney state, an attorney is always involved in the process. It does not mean it's something that you are held back from doing to your capacity of a notary. Many people are getting mixed and misinformation, and I'm gonna go over exactly where the factual information is found, so you will have access to know where to go. This question is asked often when you have notaries from other states that move here and understand we're an attorney state and may mix the information up with how other states operate, like South Carolina and Georgia, two of our neighboring states to North Carolina. That does require a attorney to be physically in the same room when the closing is being conducted, or on a phone call, or remotely on a electronic device where they can answer questions. Now, who can notarize those documents? Well, it's going to be a notary public. Not all attorneys are notaries. Please do know that. Attorneys are licensed through the state bar. And when it comes to becoming a notary, they have to go through some of the same processes as we went through to be commissioned. The one step they don't have to do is go through the class, but they do have to apply, meaning fill out the application, pay their $50 to send it to the Secretary of State, receive the letter, the appointment letter to be sworn into office as a notary public at the Register of Deeds office. All right. So when it comes to, again, these are the things that needs to be done in order for them to actually operate as a notary. And I may have misstated, and I will make sure I have that correct. As far as them having to go and go through the secretary, no, me to the Register of Deeds office. That I'm not clear on, but I will get that for you. But to let you know, when it comes to the signing agent portion of it, again, the law is very clear as far as what the general statutes have said, and there's nowhere that any attorney can actually point out the general statutes saying that they must be present with you, the notary, at the time that you're actually facilitating a closing. If you go to the North Carolina Notary Network um, Facebook group, I'm going to share my screen so I can go through what prompted this entire video today, because this is not the first, second, nor third time that I've seen misleading information that really is very upsetting when you're having someone that should be in an authority position, that should be well versed in their craft as an attorney, that could be misleading information to lay persons that we want to trust them when we're asking questions. So this is an example of why you should not just take the word of myself or anyone when you can actually research and find the factual information so you can know the answer based on truth. Okay. So let me share my screen and go over this post that again prompted this entire video so I can help my fellow notaries understand what you should know as a notary, to help yourself be able to navigate with not being scared of everything of, oh my goodness, I'm doing something wrong, when that may not necessarily be true. So as you can see on this post, Trey Simpkins today had posted. So I was getting my NO insurance straight today, and as I was putting it into the website, I seen a link for NNA certified, which I have a screenshot of my certificate. But I clicked on the link and it sent me to the NNA website. And at the top of the page, it mentioned that North Carolina loan signing need to be done in front of a licensed attorney. Anyone experienced with this? All right. So you have the first person who responded was Keith, and he says, Trey, I have had many signings in attorney states. An attorney doesn't have to be present during the signing, but must be readily available for a phone or video conference if the signer has any questions. Most attorneys, however, will just hop on speaker phone for the duration of the signing. Now, in order for that to happen, they have to have a attorney readily available. And usually, if that is the case, it was because they have some direct connection with that loan process from the beginning for that person to actually have their number to call. Now, this gentleman, he's done several, he says. So I don't know if he's only been in North Carolina performing um, signing agent duties, or he may have lived in another attorney state where South Carolina or and Georgia does require a attorney to be on the phone or remotely available or physically there in the presence of everything. Here in North Carolina, again, that is not a must. You, however, me, however, can never give legal advice. Never, 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 ever. That is unauthorized practice of law. There's no questions about that. Okay. Now you have Trey who responds, thank you. Sorry, I'm new to this and just not trying to get into legal trouble right off the bat. So you have Keith who says, no worries. I was new to the whole signing agent stuff like 4 years ago. Takes a bit to learn everything. Just stay clear of accepting signings from a certain company. Y'all can read the comments later, but I just want to get to the facts of what we can do in our capacity as a notary public with a service offering as a signing agent. And so you have Heather who says North Carolina is an attorney state. That is true. However, that doesn't answer the question of what he asks. And that's one of the things that bugs me a lot. It's a pet peeve of mine. If someone asks a question and you want to actually respond, please do answer the question or don't post anything, because it's not helping that person get that answer. Okay. So you have Trey who says, Heather, so how do you do a loan signing at the attorney's office? And she says, it's my understanding that if the loan signing agent goes to, say, someone's home to do the closing, and attorney has to be in the process remotely. However, I don't know that the loan signing agent who came to my house had an attorney remotely in the signing. I never saw one present remotely. So what I'm reading and understanding is that she has not done one. So for her to actually even respond, why? If you have not been actively been a signing agent, why are you responding in this way when you're not really helping him answer the question for him to understand what his rights or his powers will allow him to do as a notary? Many times people just like to communicate because they just want some interaction. This is a form that you should be able to get your questions answered when it comes to our legal responsibilities as a notary public. So again, there's a lot of chit chatter and it's not always getting back to the point of the question being answered. So now you have Daniel who says, Heather, the lawyer must be available. They are there to answer any questions since the notary may not answer questions about the documents or about the law. Now, to this attorney's point, we can't answer any questions based on that loan or any document for that matter as a notary notarizing these documents. So, beyond just a signing of a loan document, we can never advise anyone for a power of attorney document, an affidavit. It doesn't have to be loan related. We just cannot answer questions of how and what and why when those questions may come about, and they many times do. We have to let them know they need to consult with the party that that document is going to actually go to. And that would be the best response because we don't have the authority to answer those questions. Now, that's how you stay safe. Um, so, when I say it's misleading, it's because he says that the lawyer must be available. Now, this is the thing. Again, if you were hired, you, the notary, was hired by Daniel, for example, to actually facilitate a loan, then you'll be able to have your customer, maybe his client, to call him to answer any questions they may have because he's directly part of everything that's happening in this process. Okay. Now, that's the same thing if you are hired by a signing service that you're printing out the documents, you're going to the borrower's home to actually facilitate this closing to notarize the documents. And they have a lender title company that is involved and possibly a mortgage broker. These are also other parties that can answer questions that the borrower may have when it comes to anything that's happening with their loan. Once again, mum's the word for us as a notary that we cannot answer any questions pertaining to their document other than directing. And I'm going to show you where that information is factually found so that you don't have to be confused and hearing from someone else and you don't know where to go get the information because no one has went through fact checking any of their responses, which again, I do my best to make sure you have that information. So after reading this, to try to make sure there's no additional unnecessary content, I gave them exactly where they need to go, which is to a link of the North Carolina Bar Association. It's a .gov website, so it's a trusted site with the information that will answer that question. I went through to make sure that I stated exactly what paragraphs to pay attention to so that once again, they know exactly where to find the information to help them along that answer. So this is the site. This is where the link takes you to. Authorized Practice Advisory Opinion 2002-1. The title is On the Role of Lay Persons aka Notary Public, in the consummation of residential real estate transactions. This is something that was adopted in 2003 and then revised in 2012. So this document is, or this information is, about 23 years old. Okay. No, 13, excuse me. 13 years old from 2012 date. Um, and so when it comes to this information, all of this is good for you to read and really understand how to answer this question and understand your position. May a non-lawyer handle a residential real estate closing for one or more of the parties to the transaction? And the answer is no. And you can read this information along with the other paragraphs that follow to get more information and insight. What I really want you to pay attention to, which is what I copied and pasted here, is issue 2 and opinion 2 verbatim, because I don't want anyone to come back and say that is not so. You can't dispute what's legally written. Okay. So issue 2 says, may a non-lawyer who is not acting under the supervision of a lawyer licensed in North Carolina, one, present and identify the documents necessary to complete a North Carolina residential real estate closing, direct the parties where to sign the documents, and ensure that the parties have properly executed the documents, and two, receive and disperse the closing funds. That is a question. Opinion 2, which is the answer, yes. So long as a non-lawyer, aka notary public, does not engage in any of the activities referenced in opinion 1 or in other activities that likewise constitute the practice of law, a non-lawyer may, one, present the identity or present and identify the documents necessary to complete a North Carolina residential real estate closing, direct the parties where to sign the documents, and ensure that the parties have properly executed the documents, or two, receive and disperse the closing funds. This gives a very I should say straightforward answer, where it's asking, can we perform as a signing agent to the capacity of notarizing these documents, which is considered a facilitation of the closing. Okay. We don't do a closing, we facilitate one. That is our position. We can do this as long as we are never putting ourselves in a position of an authorized practice of law by answering questions that could be considered giving advice. And so this is why it's important for you to know exactly where this information is to be found. Challenge challenge yourself to do this. Anytime you ask a question and someone gives you an answer and they haven't followed up with where the answer is to be found, ask, where is this information located, so you can be a little bit more independent on where to go to keep this information so you can actually help another notary when the question arises, and you can now help them know exactly where to go as well. This should be a learning and collaboration amongst fellow notaries. We should help each other know exactly how to help each other. And the best way to do that is not by our opinions, it's by going through the facts of the law, of legal information that is available for us to actually get access to when you know exactly where to go. So I saved this information years ago because I wanted to make sure that when questions like this arise, I do have a point of reference that I can send you to, so that you don't have to worry about the back and forth where people are going to confuse you on these Facebook groups. So I'm glad that I was able to go over this with you tonight so that you can actually have more insight. Again, this is a good read. I would encourage you to not just read it, but copy this page. You can copy this link if you have Google Keep. Keep it in your little note book for Google Keep, and you have that as a quick reference guide digitally. And then you can actually have it where it can be transferred over to a Google document where now you can print it out, highlight the issue to and opinion to, so you can actually have this information as I post in the actual group here so that you can actually know where to look. So as you can see, this stopped a lot more of the back and forth because this would have been lengthy had I not put this information there. So thankfully, I have been able to help this young man to actually get the answer he needed. So now he's good. He can start focusing on how he's going to actually position himself to actually get customers to be able to actually be the notary for their next refinance document, loan modification, home equity line of credit, seller packet, all of the things that we have the power to do as a notary public for the community. Education is key. Always be learning because that is your best weapon when it comes to just actually understanding what you have the ability to do in your position as a notary public. Thank you guys for joining, replaying this. Please comment if you have anything that you want to share in your experience of coming across this type of question along your notary journey, as well as any experiences you have been able to actually have with a signer. Again, my goal is to help you guys be well knowledgeable about what you need to do and what you can do as a notary public and do it ethically, do it right, making sure, again, you know exactly where to find the information so that you can have the support you're needing. Because, again, this manual has a lot of outdated information, but it still gives you the value that you're needing to know where the resources are to go to get the updated information as well. So take advantage of what you do have access to and use it as your resource. So if you want to join me on future um, virtual meetings as well as lives as and trainings, the classes I offer, you have the opportunity to go to either NC Notary Training.education, see exactly what is lined up for 2025, as well as NC Notary Coach. You'll be able to see exactly what I offer to notaries that wants to take their businesses to the next level. Because again, I give you free game all the time. No worries. When you realize that you are at a resource that's going to help you get to the next level, I'm here and I welcome your questions and I don't mind a challenge. Again, I believe in fact checking. You get in the habit of doing the same and you're going to be good as gold. So, cheers to thriving in 2025. And I look forward to seeing you guys at a later time. So, best to you for this year.